said, can you explain to me why there is such aggression and such animosity? And I said, well, unfortunately, we do have problems that leaders do not know their history, leaders do not know their geography. There is no appreciation of culture and of respecting the cultures of others and to try and understand where they are coming from. In classic diplomacy, these are the things that first you must learn to be able to sit down with someone and have a decent conversation. All that is lost. He said, I remember when President Prodi came to us to tell us that the Baltic states and the Eastern European countries are going to join eight from that point, from that part of Europe. Eight countries are going to join the European Union. Lavrov told him, good. So we're going to have another anti-Russian club. And Prodi told him, no, 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 Sergei, don't see it like that. The fact that they will be part of our organization and of our club, we will manage to calm them. And we're sure we will manage to calm them. Lavrov told him, I think the other way around is going to happen. They are going to make you anti-Russian. And
But
I think this is what has happened.
it's quite fascinating to me because at the beginning of this discussion, you said that one of the reasons why Malta and a couple of others, and I think you're thinking also of Ireland, are more sensitive towards the global South is because you had this experience of being colonies, right? You were colonized, and against your
Yes,
will, you were made part of the British Empire, right? And you were both ruled from
yes,
London. And you can see today how Ireland is way more sympathetic to Palestine, right? And has way
exactly
more feeling,
like
like
us.
you, like
Yes,
Malta. You
yes,
have
yes.
way more sympathies for what's happening there. But at the same time, the Baltic states keep yelling at the top of their lungs that they were colonized by Russia. They were colonies, therefore they know what this feels like. And in order to not be a colony again, you must fight Russia, right? You must militarize and actually be an anti-Russian club. Why do these two experiences of being colonies should be very similar, but obviously they're not. They've created completely different
Listen,
approaches.
I can first of all, I think if we really want to understand the pathetic state that the European Union is in at the moment, is to have Callas as the High Representative and to be the face of the EU to the rest of the world. I can understand her as an Estonian Prime Minister, remembering the historic memory of Stalinism and the 20,000 Estonians who were carried away to Siberia. I can understand that.
But
I can
she was
understand
the
that.
daughter of a communist functionary. She was the daughter of the people who implemented that at home. That's, I mean, that's injury to insult,
Yes, yes.
insult to injury.
But to not manage to go beyond that and turn all Europe into that, I think again shows the fact that she was chosen to be the High Representative after Borrell shows the terrible situation that the EU is. Can the EU be against everyone else? Because now it's against US because of Trump, against China, against Russia. So how can the EU build now in a very lost, because I repeat, if you see what is happening technologically, there is an Australian strategic policy institute that tracks 64 technologies that are very essential for the 21st century. Out of 64, China is the first in 57 of them. India is in second place. Not even the United States is in second place. Europe doesn't appear anywhere. Germany has in two technologies. The EU, because it's not together, it doesn't appear anywhere. So technologically and economically, you have serious issues. You have serious problems. At the same time, you still have this kind of superiority attitude to tell the rest of the world how it should behave and what it should do when you are in such a deep crisis. So instead, it reminds me of the famous poem of Cavafy waiting for the barbarians. You know, when you have your citizens who have lost trust in your leadership and in the institutions, it is important to invent an enemy at the gate. Now, what happens when in 2027, in 2029, in 2030, Russia does not invade all Europe and takes even, you know, not just Warsaw and Brussels and Paris, but even Lisbon? What happens when in 5, 6 years' time, no invasion takes place? And you, in the meantime, you have been telling people, get ready, have enough provisions for 72 hours because we might have a war. So instead, it's a bit like Trump, I feel. Instead of addressing your problem, blame others. In the case of Trump, mainly blaming China. In the case of the EU, blame Russia. Blame Russia. And if we want to become strong again, let's have a shortcut. Let's have military Keynesianism. Let's borrow money and let's spend money on building our military industrial complex. We need to move away from welfare states to warfare states, and because we're going to build, and instead of producing cars, we're going to have military tanks. We're going to solve all the problems. We're going to have employment. Our economies are going to flourish again. We're going to become strong again. But this is a very dangerous illusion. It's very sad to see a country, you know, after country with such cultural experience and wealth in this state when most of the states are becoming ungovernable and the European Union itself is becoming ungovernable. And you still have the arrogance to tell the rest of the world how it should behave and what it should do.
Is this is what leaves me at this loss, because there seems to be not just the arrogance, not just the we know everything better and we will tell everybody else how they should behave. There's also a complete at least from what I see, an utter lack of a vision. What is a good process forward? The whole discussion at the moment in Europe seems to just revolve around security, how to be secure, but there's no vision of
Yes.
why to be secure. I mean, where to go? So, okay,
Yes.
fine, we don't have a war. So where
Yes.
do we go without a war once we are secure? Because at the moment it seems that really, the expectation of a war seems to already create almost. We're not yet at euphoria, but we are in a point where people are kind of looking forward to it in order you you want that war. That's the
Yes, yes, but
expectation.
Pascal, it reminds me a bit of Tennyson's poem, The Charge of the Light Brigade. They knew they were going to die, but he glorifies those soldiers. Ours is not to question why. Ours is to do and die. I mean,